continue here at Champs, and Boston Breach, the newest addition to the CDL, their first ever COD Champs, go out top 8.
As many people would know, myself, I was a former pro player, played on the Paris Legion and Reciprocity, and it was after Paris Legion that I kind of figured out that, hey, my next career path in this industry is through staffing. Then Zach came to me, going to these calls. It was very exciting because not many people knew about it.
Esports. This is the organisation that are partnering with the kind of craft sports ventures to bring the 12
And I was
CDL
told by
sports.
many others that it would pretty much be career suicide, coming into a team where, you know, in quotation marks, you have the scrap leftover players. There's 44 players that franchises picked up, and the remaining players franchises did not want. A lot of it for me was that underdog story and trying to form a team. I wanted people to play for Boston. I wanted them to wear their heart on their sleeve and really, you know, prove everybody wrong.
I heard they checking for me, no one checking on me, so I had to go run up a check. I got the message on me, ain't no flexing on me, my attorney gon' call and collect.
Let's meet them, Boston Breach.
First two stages and how well the team was played, it was quite surprising. I knew we were capable. I didn't know we were going to be that capable that quick, but a lot of people still learn the game. We will learn the game, and I think we just learned the game a lot quicker than others. And you know, we end up only finishing top 6 Major 1. We lost to Toronto last map, I believe, and that is at probably the point where we're like, hey, we're actually capable of doing much better and bigger things. We can actually do this.
Dude's got your entry. Cut the time. Help Dude.
No, he's left side time, back left time. Back left time, yeah, he's coming.
Major 2 comes around, and the qualifiers, you know, we're 4-1, doing really well. The bracket for us, you got LAG first round, the eventual champs. We beat them, we come up against Florida, we beat them, and you know, we find ourselves top 3. From the get-go, it was kind of like, hey, like, we formed this team. Everything was going to plan. Zim was playing really well. I think Zim was playing a little too well. There was concerns with the intercamp, with the staff, or how are we going to address what happens when Zim falls off. Zim was playing MVP lights out. Major 2, probably the best AR player in that stage.
Methodz has gotten through here to the tower, or maybe he jumps out, but they don't know he's here yet, and now he's striking. Oh! That's number 5, but still they're spawning in the back. Methodz, he's coming in, baby. Oh, he finds at least one. TJ.
And we knew that it wasn't sustainable. Anyone dropping 1.5s, 1.4s is going to be very, very difficult to keep that going all season long. And what those implications and ramifications were going to be. And there was that mid-season break.
Control people do the same breakoffs. I want you guys to counter their breakoffs like halfway in the game. That's how you win. That's how you're going to consistently win. Okay? Yeah? It's just not for you. Yes, sir. It's for everybody. It's for everybody.
It impacted us. We ended up going to the Pro-Am. We lost to NA in a 3v1 fashion. It was at that point that the growing pains started to occur, and Major 3 kind of confirmed it. We had a dreadful stage, and then we went to Toronto and lost, and that was very difficult. That was tough to grasp after how high we have. Now we're at the lowest of lows. There had to be some internal change made. We did have a warning sent out to a couple of the players. What was being produced throughout practice and throughout the games just wasn't going to cut it, and we were hoping that that would motivate, and it did last for a little bit, but unfortunately things are hard to change that quick, and we did have to make a change, and we're looking at, you know, all elements of what is the best way forward, and you know, the options we had. Thankfully Florida were able to give us a lifeline, and we were willing to make the tough decision to have Cap go to the bench. We supported him. This is the first time being on the coaching management side to have to break that kind of news to a player. For such a promising guy with tons of potential, and his early season definitely, you know, surpassing my expectations. It was difficult to have this conversation. He's just not a Boston Breach player. He It was a friend. You know, you never want to have to make these decisions. And just, you know, thinking about it now, it's like I've been a player before, I've been dropped before. It's not a great feeling. I'm not going to lie, dropping Cap was difficult to make. It had to be made, but that doesn't make it any easier. Luckily, Cap had his revenge tour in challenges, and he was actually destroying the competition, and we got Reese, and fortunately for us, you know, we were also doing very well Major 4.
Grind never stopping, I'm keeping it cold. Unlocking the door with the holy key. You supposed to be this close to me, and hopefully you understand TJHaly. Maybe this cold and I'm talking like no degrees. This ain't a fluke. I seen it way before it ever happened. He gave me the view. I had to put in my time on the TV. Ain't coming in soon. I couldn't leave it all up to a variant or an experience. You gotta get up and do what it do. So complicated, homie, it's you. Always gonna wait until you in the mood. I've been running.
Going into Major 4, we're on our high horse. I think we got third seed. Feeling good. Practice has been going really well. And we play Florida first round.
I was feeling Boston just with Vivid on the team now. It's a player that they wanted. But then the map set kind of came out, and I don't feel great for Boston. You know, the records aren't fantastic on one side versus the other. I just think it's some maps that Florida have had a lot of success on. When you have a couple of Gavutsus, you have Skies and Awakening on the team where he can pull out a third AR, I think you're feeling pretty good about it.
Some people say Veto's could have gone a bit different, and looking back at it, yeah, maybe they could have. But on paper, we've got better players than Florida do. So we are just going to pick our comfortable maps. At the time, we weren't good at Tuscan Hardpoint. That was our worst hardpoint by a mile. Couldn't get anything going on it. Florida, it was probably their second best map, Gav being their first. But Gav was also our best map. So it's like, okay, we can pick two teams' best map and just go head to head on it, or we can pick a map that they're good at and we just suck at, just based off who they have on their roster. And maybe we could have done that looking back, but I still had trust in my boys to like go out there and do the job. We came out flat. The COD we played was just not good, which is pretty disappointing, and we just kind of put ourselves in a hole from the start. Thankfully, we made champs, you know, thank fucking God. We did make it a lot more stressful than it needed to be. At this point, making champs as the last team to enter the CDL and pick up 4 players was a pretty impressive achievement in my eyes. Played LAFs first, as most of you know. And that was a pretty big heartbreaker, to say the least. Then we have one day, we have less than 24 hours to recover and bounce back, and then we play Toronto, who in the last 3 times we played Toronto, even online, they can't touch us. Then we go into that series super confident. We have our 5 best maps probably on paper. Everyone's feeling good, everyone's feeling confident, and then we just come out like, I don't know what it is. It was the same like gameplay as Major 4. Like we were scared again, and you just can't play like that. You can't scrim a certain way and then change as soon as you get to LAN. Unfortunately, we didn't have another series after that to like bounce back and rectify. That was it. That's the year done. I think when you set the bar so high early on, kind of sucks never being able to reach that again, especially when we made the change and we just looked incredible. What can you do? It's over with now. But looking forward to next year, you know, we have a 2-year cycle, so I think it's important that the team we have is a team that truly believe in. You know, now we're not the last franchise to pick up a team, we can be the first. You know, a few teams won't change, but we can be the first team to make a change. We can go after the players we want, and we can make a championship winning team, and that excites me. We're fortunate to be with such a great franchise with Boston, and the owners care so much about COD and winning, and they trust me and Den so much, which is something that a few coaches actually don't have, is the backing from their owners.
So it has, been a roller coaster of a season for a good majority of teams. You know, with many highs, many lows. Looking forward, I always try to be solution oriented, and you know, into next season, I believe the most important aspect of Boston is to continue to foster a culture of excellence, whether that be executing better, building better, pushing the boundaries of Call of Duty, just going that extra mile. And unfortunately, at this time of year, we are going to have to make some difficult decisions, and it's never easy. And it's never easy mainly because the bond and friendship you build with players, the staff, and the journey that we've been on together, no one else outside of that inner circle can kind of relate to it. There's always people looking in, but when you're in those 4 walls in that facility and you're there from 12 o'clock to 9 o'clock some days, and you were just giving every last ounce of effort and energy, it is difficult to then come and reflect upon the season and make these difficult decisions. So with this being said, myself and Boston Breach would like to take this moment to once again thank TJ for what he's done for Boston this year. He was an imperative part of our starting year, and Boston will always have a home for him. I really felt, I didn't know any of these guys before the season started. I knew him a little bit, but I didn't know him to the degree that I do now, and I felt like he was really coming out of his shell the latter half of the year. It does pain me to have to make this decision. I enjoyed his company for the majority. I'm not gonna lie, there are some times where he annoyed me and frustrated me, I'll be honest, but his intentions were always good. His intentions were the right path, about winning, and I couldn't ask for more. He's a great person, an even more skilled player, and he cemented himself in Breach history. Be a founding member and a player of Boston Breach's inaugural year. I mean, it's special to me, and I believe it's special to the franchise. And people may not see it that way, but looking in and managing these guys, there is that little moment and specialness.
Honestly, I didn't know Tej before this year, but I'm so glad I got to know him. He's one of the funniest people I've ever met, and I'm excited to see where he lands and what he can do next year. And I know a lot of people are on his arse, and he does get a lot of shit, but he's a great player, deserves a good team, and I truly think he can win again. And yeah, I'm just glad I got to meet him, and thank you to Tej for all his hard work this year. Through it all, he never complained through it all.
And it's funny that for the Challenger event, we actually had a backdrop of all the pro players. There's one of Tej, Zin, we had one of Doug, App, and Dill, and I can say with confidence, his backdrop will live on at the facility, and will just be a really good reminder of the year we had.